Hello and welcome to Black Bear Atheist. Today we're checking out more of Capture Christianity, and I believe this is just a short and it's three sincere questions for atheists. Let's get into it.
So I've got three questions that I want to ask atheists, and these aren't gotcha questions. I sincerely want to know, sincerely want to know the answer to these questions. First question is, do you believe that God does not exist? So
Do you
you
do,
kind
do you believe God does not exist? I should have probably put like a subtitle there so I could like see exactly what question is being asked. Do you believe God doesn't exist? Um, yes, that's the entire point. That's the entire definition of atheist. So yes, I'm not even sure if I'm answering the question, but if it's saying, "Do I believe God doesn't exist?" then yes, that's the by definition, atheism is believing that there's no God or lack of belief in a God.
of either have that belief or you don't. You either believe that God does not exist or you don't. If you answered yes to that, then you're ready for the next question. The next question is, do you believe in evidentialism? Evidentialism is the view that your beliefs ought to be proportioned to the evidence. You shouldn't just believe something without evidence. Those are the first two.
Yes, I guess I want to believe things that has evidence backing them. If there's no evidence for my belief, then I'm just having a blind faith and I'm just believing something that doesn't make sense. It's just me and my opinions in a sense and no evidence to back them up. That's why science is the best way to explain our universe and the things around us because it presents evidence for its claims. And religion, thus far, have none. Religion is all about saying this, that, even when we don't know whether this or that, and claiming this happened when there's no evidence that it happened. Like Muhammad, doing some miracle, or Jesus doing some miracle, or God doing some miracle, or God even existing. And the list goes on.
Two questions. If you answered yes to both of those, if you have the belief that God does not exist, and you also believe in evidentialism, you're ready for the third question. And the third question is, what is your evidence that justifies your belief that God does not exist?
The first question being whether you believe there's a God, and I don't believe there's a God. The second question being, oh, do you prefer evidence or do you like evidence? Do you think you need to have evidence for your belief? And I say yes, yeah, you do need to have evidence for your belief. The third question being, what is the evidence for my belief in a God? The evidence is that there's no evidence for a supernatural event. God, by definition, has to be, in a sense, supernatural. And anyone, Christians, theists in general, will admit to this. There's no evidence of a supernatural event, so why would I believe in such? I don't need to present evidence that, oh, there's no evidence for a supernatural event. I just need to point out that we have no evidence for any. Thus, I don't believe. I don't believe in a God because there's no evidence for God. I don't need to rap something out of my ass to say, oh, this is the evidence that there's no God. No, I just need to point out that we have no evidence for such, thus, I don't believe. I can present evidence that a laptop exists. I can present evidence that the earth is a sphere. Evidence for evolution, evidence for all these things. But when it comes to God, which is a lack of a belief or I don't believe because there's no evidence for it. Just like I can't present evidence that Bigfoot or Santa doesn't exist. Like you can't necessarily present evidence for any of that. Those are things that are supposed to be supernatural claims, and the people that are actually claiming should be the one presenting evidence. This is just a or Uno call to switch the burden of proof to atheists, which I'm gonna do another or Uno reverse to back to you and say there's no evidence. That's how I came to my conclusion. If there's evidence for God, I would believe there's a God, but there's no evidence for God. Thus, I don't believe there's a God. Nor do I believe in fairies or any other supernatural claims because there's no evidence to come to a conclusion that there is. That's my answer. Thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. That's it for today. Have a great day, people.